Hi Year 3 and 4. Hope you've had a really lovely Easter break. Your teachers certainly have, but now we've started to think about what we could help you learn for the next few weeks. And we thought because home is the best place to be right now, home should be the theme of our new topic. So Mrs. Thompson has found a really lovely book that she's going to read to you. So listen very carefully. Over to you, Mrs. Thompson.
The Journey Home by Fran Preston Gannon. The frozen sea was melting. Where has all of my ice gone? The polar bear wondered. And where is my food? He looked around. Well, I can't stay here, he decided, so he went for a swim. As he swam along, he found a little boat, alone upon the sea. This will be easier than swimming, he thought, as he climbed in. Before long, he came upon a city where machines rumbled and tall buildings hid the sky. What are you doing? Asked the panda, watching from the docks. I'm sailing in my boat, replied the polar bear. It's easier than swimming, you see. Well, I can't stay here, said the panda, lowering himself down into the boat. I think I'll come with you. And together the two animals sailed along, listening to the seagulls and saying hello to the fish. After a while, they floated up a river to where a jungle used to be. I've nothing to climb any more, said an orangutan. My trees are disappearing. The panda and the polar bear looked around and saw that she was right. Well, you could join us if you like, said the panda. Perhaps we'll spot some trees on the way. So she climbed in and off they went. As they sailed on, they looked up at the sky and saw the beautiful shapes that the clouds had made. What's behind that rock? Said the orangutan suddenly. Shh, said an elephant. I'm trying to hide. Someone's trying to steal my tusks. Why don't you come with us? Whispered the panda. We can sail far away from here. And so the elephant climbed in too. And so the animals laughed and played as their small boat carried them further and further. But the sea started to swell and dark clouds appeared in the sky. The storm passed, and the animals knew the terrible waves had carried them far, far away. They thought of their homes and how much they missed them, and as they sailed on, they all felt very lost on the big blue sea. A dodo watched from his island as the boat and its animals came into view. Hello there, he called to them as they sailed closer. We're lost, shouted the polar bear to the dodo. We've sailed too far and now we want to go home. Well, of course you can go home, said the dodo. Really? Said the animals together. When? You can go home when the trees grow back and when the ice returns and when the cities stop getting bigger and when the hunting stops. Oh, said the orangutan thoughtfully. Oh, when will that be? Asked the polar bear. I don't know, said the dodo. Let's see what tomorrow brings.
Thank you for that, Mrs. Thompson. Now, we chose this story because we know so many of you are passionate about our planet and looking after the world and the animals within it. So we hope this story can really help your project. We're going to think about all the different areas of our learning that it can help us with. So to start with, history. We could look at the history of the extinction of some animals on our planet. The dodo didn't have a very happy ending in real life, so you can learn about how that came about. Now, Miss Copeland, I think you've got some thoughts about that.
I've heard of dodos, like the one in the story, but I've never actually seen one. Do you know why? Perhaps you could be a historian and find out about other animals that have gone the same way as the dodo in the past. You could chart a timeline that shows other historical events that happened around the same time as the dodo disappeared, or any of the other animals that you might want to research.
Thank you for that, Miss Copeland. Now we can also use this story to learn about the geography of our planet as well. We could look at where each of those animals come from, where the panda comes from, where the polar bear comes from, and learn about all of those different places around the world. You could also link it to your own family and your family home. Have your family travelled the world to end up where they are now? Or are there any travels that your family want to do in the future? Now there's loads of really great opportunities for art in this story. The illustrations are beautiful, so you could try to recreate them using any materials you've got at home, either coloured crayons or collage, or whatever you got to hand really. Now, Mrs. Oldershaw, I think you've got a computing/art idea for us.
Or thinking about the theme of home, you could create your own Wordle. Using an online website such as WordArt or WordCloud, you could type in what home means to you, such as your family and pet names, how home makes you feel, favourite food, games, or favourite things to do. Alternatively, you can handwrite your own word art and create your own design.
Thank you for that, Mrs. Oldershaw. Now there's lots of science we can also be inspired to do from reading this story. We could look about environmental science, how humans have managed the planet, how we've damaged the planet, and what we can do to make it a better place. Now there's some really interesting reports in the news at the moment about how this lockdown is actually really benefiting nature. So you could research articles like that, find out what you can about how animals might be actually benefiting from the society that we're living in now. There's also some really interesting science you could do to do with changing states of matter. Now, if you remember back to the beginning of this year, we learned a lot about solids, liquids and gases. Now, I'm sure there's something you could do connected to the polar ice caps melting. Or you could create your own polar ice cap, turn some liquid into solids. Through freezing it, think about how you can measure the liquid you use. Think about what you need to do to turn those solids back into liquids. Maybe even think about how to turn that liquid into a gas using an increase in temperature. All kinds of science you could do. Brilliant idea. You could even dress up as a polar bear. Oh, I love it. How about you, Miss Dixon?
Poor orangutan. I think I'd like to research why his trees are being chopped down. Oh no! Or you might want to find out why the icebergs are melting.
So lots of things for you to think about there. So Miss Copeland, is there anything else that you've got on your mind to do with this topic?
What's happened to all the bees? I think I'd like to find out about other endangered animals as well. I might use my computing skills to research other endangered animals around the world, like these guys, or even in the UK, like this guy. I want to find out why they're being endangered and what we might be able to do to help them. I could create a PowerPoint or a newspaper report to spread awareness.
Great. Mrs. Kent, have you got any ideas?
I want to learn a lot of facts about penguins.
And that is absolutely your choice, Mrs. Kent. If you want to learn about penguins, then you can. It is your project. Miss Allen, have you got any thoughts about what we could do, perhaps with some writing ideas?
Maybe you could retell the story using all that information you found about other endangered animals. Or you could even retell it with a twist. Maybe a sea turtle comes on the boat, or a bee. You could even try writing a diary from the perspective of one of the animals. How do you think they felt on that boat?
Brilliant. And how about you, Mrs. Jenkins? I know you've got some reading ideas you might like to share with us. Mrs. Jenkins, is that you? Hey, maybe we could do a guided read comparing this book with other books about animals, like The Snail and the Whale or Jungle Book. So we really hope you like the ideas we've come up with, and we hope that you've got lots more in your heads. We've put all of those ideas on the class pages of the website, all typed up for you, so you can have a good look at them all, plus more, lots more that we thought of. But really, it's over to you. We would love to see where you take this topic. So as always, send us any examples of your work to our email addresses, which are on the web pages. And most of all, have fun. See you soon. Bye.